I must say, I was shocked to hear the story about Owen Jones. Now, I'm not a supporter of Labour. Of course, Owen Jones is not a supporter of Labour anymore. But I enjoy reading Owen Jones and listening to what he's got to say on YouTube, on TikTok, on wherever he gets up and talks. I find his brain is really interesting, and very often he says something, and I know that I must take the opposite point of view, but I enjoy Owen Jones. And let's consider this small but telling drama that happened this year at the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. Yesterday, Owen Jones announced with characteristic fury and with very well with very well deserved fury that his conference pass had been cancelled on, quote, safeguarding grounds. Jones, once a Labour member and a prominent supporter of Jeremy Corbyn, quit the party last year over Sir Keir Starmer's abandonment of Corbyn-era policies, and more sharply over Labour's refusal to call Israel's war in Gaza a genocide. Since then, he's thrown his weight behind Corbyn's new political vehicle, the We Deserve Better campaign, and your party. Jones was on site filming his annual conference Vox Pop video, approaching MPs, cabinet ministers and delegates with awkward questions, this time about arms sales and Britain's role in Gaza. Then came the email from Team Labour, the following complaints about your conduct. We have a responsibility to safeguard delegates. We cannot continue your attendance while ensuring a safe and welcoming environment. His pass was revoked instantly. Security escorted him out. Jones responded in typical style, calling the move absolutely pathetic, Trumpian behaviour. He argued that Labour was using the language of safeguarding to shield ministers from scrutiny about complicity in one of the worst crimes of our age. He pointed out that he has filmed at both Labour and Conservative conferences for a decade without incident, and this, he said, was the first time anyone had thrown him out. The party insists it acted only after complaints relating to his conduct towards other attendees. No further details have been offered, nor apparently to Jones himself. Another left-wing journalist, Rivka Brown of Novara Media, reported that her pass was also pulled over an unspecified breach of the event code of conduct. Neither was told who complained or why. Politically, the timing is conspicuous. Keir Starmer was due to deliver his keynote speech within hours, a speech pitched as a call to arms against Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Labour wanted unity and message discipline. The last thing the leadership desired was viral footage of ministers being ambushed over Gaza. Removing Jones prevents such disruption, but at the cost of looking heavy-handed and tyrannical. There is also a rhetorical point about safeguarding. That term normally protects vulnerable people from harassment or harm, using it to describe an activist, a journalist, asking hostile or inelegant questions, unless something genuinely threatening occurred, can seem like mission creep and aggressive overreaction. Blurring safety with comfort, it risks looking like censorship under the banner of care. Does it not remind you of Palestine Action? For Starmer's team, the calculation is obvious. Control the narrative, keep the conference disciplined, avoid giving oxygen to the Corbynite left just as Reform UK attacks from the other flank. But the optics are awkward. Jones thrives on being cast as the silenced dissenter, and he will now use this ejection to argue that Labour has become intolerant of challenge and morally evasive on Gaza. In short, one cancelled pass tells a larger story about Labour's fraught relationships with its left critics, its anxiety about Gaza, its drive to project discipline while fighting populists on the right. Whether that discipline strengthens Labour's hand or feeds the charge of hypocrisy will depend on how voters, and especially younger pro-Palestinian progressives, interpret this incident in the months ahead. As for me, as I say, I don't particularly support Owen Jones' opinions, but I absolutely support him as a person, as a journalist, as a principled and thoughtful, intelligent commentator on the political scene. He would have my vote every single time. I think he's a worthy and principled and thoughtful and interesting journalist. I'm always interested by what he has to say. I know there are people on YouTube who find my range of interests perplexing. I go from supporting and watching Maya Tusi to supporting and watching Owen Jones. Yes, I think there is reason to have a diverse menu of interesting articles and interesting videos to watch on a daily basis. I also routinely watch GB News. I also read the Daily Mail. But I absolutely look at the Financial Times, the Telegraph. I look at newspapers in Turkey, in Israel, in Greece. I'm particularly fond of Greek newspapers. Years and years ago, I used to write a column in Greek for one of the Greek Sunday supplements, and I'm rather proud to have done it. And now, so many years later, I struggle with Greek in much the same way as I struggle with Russian. And oddly, when I try and speak Russian these days, what comes out is something in Greek. And when I try and speak Greek, what comes out is something vaguely in Russian. I met a Russian lady the other day, and I couldn't even think of how to say hello. All I could come out with was "Ya hachu есть," which means "feed me," as if I'm a plant from the Little Shop of Horrors. What is happening to the brain? I don't think that's a responsibility of Owen Jones, but I admire him. I admire him. When I was younger, I was particularly fond of Bernard Levin, and I used to scour. I think he used to write for the Daily Telegraph at the time, and I used to scour the Daily Telegraph for his articles, and again they were always slightly controversial but beautifully written. And we have lost that art for the main part. So a lot of the stuff that comes out in the Guardian and the Independent, I've written for the Independent myself, so I have a little bit of experience of that one. But a lot of what is written seems to me to be pedestrian, and so you just welcome people who have an opinion. By the way, even Nadine Dorries has written some amazing stuff in the Daily Mail, and flabbergasting. Her stuff about Lucy Letby was eye-opening. Eye-opening. There we are.